Right now, today, you are paying for something you forgot you signed up for. You don't know what it is. That's the point. It might be $4. It might be 40. It's been leaving your account every month, quietly, on a day you don't remember choosing. And here's the uncomfortable part. You didn't get tricked. Nobody stole from you. You just never said no. That's not a story about your willpower. It's a story about design. Let's talk about the quietest way money leaves your life. Max. This channel is about the psychology underneath your money, the stuff that decides what happens after the paycheck lands. No guru nonsense, just the mechanisms, the evidence, and what you can actually do. If that's useful, subscribe, it genuinely helps. Today, for mechanisms, each one removes a decision you think you're still making. Start with a number. People were asked a simple question: how much do you spend on subscriptions every month? Quick guess. The average guess was about $86 a month. Reasonable. A couple of streaming services, maybe a music app. Sounds about right. Then the same people were asked to actually go through their accounts. Itemize every single recurring charge. One by one. The real number was $219. Not 86. 219. That's $133 a month they didn't know they were spending. $1,600 a year. Invisible. Now, the easy explanation is that these people were careless. Bad with money, not paying attention. I want to argue the opposite. The gap isn't a character flaw. It's the predictable output of a system built around one missing moment. Every purchase you make in the real world has a moment. You see the price. You decide. Yes or no. Subscriptions delete that moment. You decide once at sign up and then never again. The money keeps moving without you in the room. For mechanisms keep you out of that room. Let's walk through each one, and the way out of each one. Mechanism 1. The most powerful force in your financial life isn't greed or discipline. It's whatever requires no action. Behavioral economists have a name for this. It's called the default effect. We are dramatically more likely to keep doing whatever the system already does for us. The foundational research goes back to 1988. Samuelson and Zeckhauser called it status quo bias. When in doubt, people stay put. Subscriptions take that bias and weaponize it. The default isn't stop paying. The default is keep paying, forever, automatically. And there's a beautiful piece of evidence for how strong this is. Comes from an accident: what happens when your card expires. Economists at Stanford studied a payment card network covering about 30% of subscribers. They tracked 10 different subscription services over 4 years. Here's why their method is so clean. They didn't ask people anything. Surveys are noisy. They watched what people actually did when something forced their hand. The thing that forced people's hand was mundane. Cards expire. They get reissued. The number changes. Nothing about the subscription itself changed at all. But when the card changes, the system can't auto-charge anymore. Suddenly the customer has to do something. Re-enter the number. Actively choose to continue. And in that exact month, when the default flips from stay to decide, cancellation spike. Same service. Same price. The only thing that changed was that a decision suddenly became required. That's the whole proof in one move. The only variable was whether a choice was demanded. When it was, people left. When it wasn't, they paid. The researchers estimated how much extra revenue companies earn purely from this inattention. Depending on the service, 14% to over 200%. Read that again. For some businesses, customer forgetfulness more than doubles their money. The forgetting isn't a bug in their model. It is the model. Here's the line I want you to keep. You're not paying because you want it. You're paying because you never stopped. The exit here is simple to say and strangely hard to do. Recreate the missing moment yourself. Force a redecision the system never asks for. One scheduled review. You look at every recurring charge and ask one question. Would I sign up for this today at this price knowing what I now know? Most things survive that question. Some don't. The ones that don't were the default carrying you, not the value. Mechanism 2. If the default keeps you in, this one stops you from leaving. It's about effort and where it's deliberately placed. Signing up takes one click. 30 seconds. Designed to be effortless because effortless is what gets you in the door. Canceling? Buried in settings. 3 confirmation screens. 2 retention offers. A will miss you page. and then an email that sometimes never arrives. 3 confirmation screens to leave. 1 click to join. Totally a coincidence. Nobody planned that. Sure, this has a name too. Researchers call it sludge. It's the opposite of a helpful nudge. Friction deliberately engineered into the path you'd want to take. The same field that studies how to gently guide good decisions documents the opposite too. The same tools get inverted, built to trap you instead of help you. The gray cancel link isn't laziness. Somebody chose that color, that size, that placement. Every step between you and leaving was a decision someone made. A 2024 report from Citizens Advice in the UK put a number on the damage. People there spent £688 million on subscriptions they didn't want. Almost £700 million. In one country, in 1 year, on services people had actively stopped wanting but never managed to leave. Their report found 40% of accidental subscriptions came from silent auto-renewal. Another 39% started as free trials people forgot to cancel. Different country, same architecture. The friction isn't an American problem or a British problem. It's a design problem, and the design repeats. Now, there is real regulation moving on this. In 2024, the FTC finalized a rule to make canceling as simple as signing up. A federal appeals court struck it down in 2025 on procedural grounds. Days before it went live. Decades of rulemaking, vacated on a technicality. The friction has very good lawyers. As of now, there's no federal rule in force. Several states, California among them, have their own laws. But don't wait for the rules to save you. The friction is still there. The exit is still your job. The trick with sludge is to stop treating cancellation as a battle of willpower against a maze. Treat it as a scheduled task with a deadline. When canceling is on a list with a date, the maze stops working. Sludge only beats you when leaving is a vague intention instead of a concrete plan. Mechanism 3. This is the one that turns $86 into $219 without a single moment that feels like a mistake. Nobody wakes up and adds 15 subscriptions. You add one, then 3 months later, one more, then a free trial. The growth is never an event. There's a reason free trials work so well. Behavioral research calls it the zero price effect. The word free doesn't just lower the price. It removes the evaluation entirely. Their research showed something strange. People don't treat free as just a very low price. They treat it as no decision at all. The risk feels like zero. So the free trial isn't really for you to try the product. It's a frictionless way to get your card on file before any decision happens. 30 days later, the trial ends. There's no alarm, no confirmation. The charge just begins on a day you've already forgotten about. The free trial isn't there for you to remember to use it. It's there for you to forget to cancel it. That's the whole design. In that same survey, 42% of people admitted they were still being charged for something they'd stopped using. Not couldn't afford. Stopped using. That's almost half of everyone. Paying every month for something they have actively decided they don't want. Just never decided out loud. And 74% said it's easy to forget recurring charges entirely. Not hard. Easy. The forgetting isn't unusual. It's the normal outcome. The exit for creep isn't willpower. It's a single page. Every recurring charge, written down in one place, where the total can't hide behind 12 separate small numbers. Creep survives because nothing ever shows you the sum. The moment you write the full list and see one big number at the bottom, the spell breaks. You don't need discipline to cancel a service you forgot you had. You just need to see it. The list does the work. Mechanism 4. This is the deepest one because it explains why even the charges you remember don't feel like spending. Richard Thaler won a Nobel Prize partly for an idea called mental accounting. We don't treat every dollar the same. We sort money into mental categories. His research showed money isn't fungible in our heads, even though it is in reality. A dollar labeled bills feels different from a dollar labeled fun. Subscriptions get filed in the worst possible drawer. Not purchases. They get filed next to electricity and water, as utilities, as background, and you don't argue with utilities. You don't sit down and decide whether to keep electricity. It's just there. That's the slot subscriptions slip into. Here's proof that this happens in real time. Remember that survey, 86 guessed, 219 real? Look at how they asked the question. First, they gave people 10 seconds. Quick. How much? That's your mental accounting talking. The utility drawer answering from memory. Then they made people slow down and itemize every charge by hand. No timer. Actually, look. And the number more than doubled. The gap between the fast answer and the slow answer is the mechanism, measured. The utility drawer was off by $133 a month. There's a partner concept here. Researchers call it the pain of paying. Handing over cash physically hurts a little. That sting is a break. Their work showed something specific. The more you separate paying from using, the less it hurts. And the less it hurts, the more you spend. The break is the discomfort. Remove it and there's no break. Auto-renewal is the maximum possible separation. You don't see it. You don't approve it. You're asleep when it happens. The break is completely gone. Nobody in the room. Again. You'd never hand someone $219 in cash for apps. But $14 here, $10 there, $9.99 somewhere else while you sleep every month automatically? Sure, why not? $219 at once, you would question. Split into a dozen payments you don't see and don't feel, you won't. That's not weakness. That's the design working. The exit for mental accounting is counterintuitive. You deliberately add back a little pain. Make at least one moment where you actually feel the money leave. Annual totals instead of monthly. Seeing the yearly number. Anything that drags the charge out of the utility drawer and back into the decision drawer. $9.99 a month is invisible. $120 a year is a decision. Same money, completely different drawer. Now, you might be pushing back right now. And you should. Because there's a real counterargument here, and ignoring it would be dishonest. Subscriptions are not the villain. For a service you actually use, auto-renewal is genuinely convenient. You'd be annoyed if your music stopped every month. And for heavy users, bundles can be a real bargain. The model itself isn't predatory. Plenty of subscriptions are honestly worth the money. So let me be precise about the actual problem. It's not that subscriptions exist. It's that the system removes the moment you check whether this one still earns its place. A subscription you use and would rebuy today is a good deal. A subscription you forgot exists is a transfer of money for nothing. The mechanisms hide which is which. The goal was never cancel everything. It's narrower and harder than that. Get back in the room for the decision. Then keep what's worth keeping on purpose. Keeping a service on purpose and keeping it by default cost the same money. But only one of them is actually a choice. We're after the choice. So here's the whole thing made concrete. 15 minutes this week. Not a lifestyle overhaul. 3 steps. Step 1. Open your bank and card statements. Write down every recurring charge on a single page. Every one. Total at the bottom. The total is the point, not the individual numbers. The number at the bottom is the one the system never lets you see. Step 2. For each charge, one question. Would I sign up for this today at this price knowing I forgot it existed until just now? That question is the missing moment. You're manually doing what the system deleted. Most things pass. The ones that don't were never really chosen. Step 3. Cancel the ones that failed. Then put one recurring reminder on your calendar to do this again. The reminder is what makes it stick. One pass fixes today. The recurring reminder fixes every month after. Without it, creep just quietly starts again. If doing this by hand sounds tedious, it is the first time. There are tools that surface every recurring charge for you automatically. Rocket Money is one that scans your accounts and lists every subscription in one place. Links in the description. It's an affiliate link, so it supports the channel at no cost to you. A tool can show you the list. It still can't ask the question for you. That part stays yours. Let's bring it back. For mechanisms, the default that keeps you in. The friction that stops you leaving. The creep you never notice. The accounting that hides the cost. For different tricks. One single thing they all do. Every one of them removes the moment you would have decided. Which means the fix is never really about discipline. It's about putting the moment back. One scheduled day a month where you're in the room again. Go back to the start. That charge you forgot you're paying for right now, you still don't know what it is. You were never careless. The whole thing was engineered around you not looking. The fix is just deciding to look on a schedule on purpose. A subscription you choose is a service. A subscription you forget is a tax you pay yourself. The difference is 1 moment a month. Do the 15 minutes. Tell me in the comments how much you found. People always find more than they expect. I'll see you in the next one.